That is a title that I've had since 1994. Keep it real, because it saves my life. Hi, I'm Kim, and I am an alcoholic. I'm an only girl out of 5. I am the eldest, and I loved to control everything and everybody. I knew when I was young, though, that I was going to drink, so many people would tell you they just kind of wandered into drinking. I didn't. I knew that was what I was going to do. I come from a very religious background. My family was real strict. We were isolated. I didn't care for that much, but today I know it helped me with my communications with God. You know, in the literature of Alcoholics Anonymous, we always say you have to learn how to get honest. But the thing is not getting honest with other people, it's in you getting honest with yourself. You know, when I was 8, I had to stop what I believed to be a religious overdose. My family wanted me to get baptized at that time, and I was watching my neighbors drink. Asked me who looked like they were having more fun. I would gaze out the window and say, when I become an adult, I'm gonna do that. So I knew that intoxication was gonna be a way of life for me before I ever even started. At the age of 12, in fact, on my 12th birthday, is my first drunk. I was running with some kids from high school, and we went over their house, and they were drinking, and I can tell you that I drank like I had been drinking all my life. We mixed everything in a tumbler, and I drank it. They also had marijuana. They blew it in my face. So I was toasted. I was so toasted that I felt like I was going to sleep. And I know today that this was a prayer to the God as I understand him. It's because I didn't want to go to sleep. See, that's what I called it. I felt like I was going to sleep. And I kept saying, I can't go to sleep. That would be embarrassing. There's one feeling I can never seem to overcome, and that's embarrassment. If my mind said it was embarrassing, I didn't know how to erase that. So blackouts became a way of life for me to overcome embarrassment. Where if I get drunk and I just black out of this, I won't even know I was there. And no one was allowed to tell me either. If I saw you the next day, if you mentioned the night before, we're gonna have a problem. So here we are from 12 to 15. I'm cutting school, I'm hanging with older kids, but children can't seem to get alcohol and drugs like older people can. So my aim was to fit myself to be in an adult crowd. I was a young girl who babysat for gangsters. That's really who they were, you know. But their money was good. Babysitting money was good. And I had access to drugs and alcohol. So that was always my aim. My aim was always to find the adult that would allow me to drink and get high like I want to get high. So we go from 15 to 19. By this time, I'm hanging in nightclubs. I'm hanging in after-hour places. Before I turned 19, I say anywhere between, I got pregnant at 17. So after my pregnancy, now I no longer want to babysit anymore or be around people's homes. Now I want to stay in the club. So I started being a barmaid at an after-hour spot. I'm not going to be a barmaid at a nightclub. I'm going to be a barmaid at the after-hour place because my plan is to come in there, pour a couple of drinks, take what I want out of that till, and I have to go, you know, because drinking was just a part of the process for me. There's a thing about alcoholism that I believe, and today I believe it all centers in my mind. But it was a time in my life when I believed that the craving system was physical, and I've stayed here long enough to believe that it's all centered in my mind. I am a girl who did what she wants to do, when she wants to do it, how she wants to do it. People tried to satisfy that for me. They always wanted to change me. I was never okay being who I was. I was either too loud or too opinionated, and I hated it because I said if it mattered what you wanted from me, then I wouldn't exist. But I exist. So that attitude made me more powerful. By the time I reached 19, I had gotten with a crowd that was very dangerous, that I didn't know they were dangerous. They were murderers, apparently. They had been killing people from California to Cleveland. But to show you how naive I was at that time in my life, I never saw murders. I saw suits, I saw ties, I saw money, I saw alcohol, I saw anything I wanted to use, I saw. They had plenty, and it was so plentiful. Sex was not even a thought. That's how plentiful it was. So when they were taken away from me, I knew my life had to change a little bit. Cocaine gave me an attitude. It doesn't take you to a place of deterioration. It takes you to a place of mental buildup or something. And I became a real god at that point in my life. Now I can order people around. People are gonna do what I tell them to do. I have a mental obsession that says that I have to use some kind of chemicals. No doubt about it. If I'm asleep, I dream about it. Once my eyes are open, I'm going to get availability to it. So it had progressed to such a point that it had to be on the night table right next to me. We're not gonna even question where I'm gonna find it, because it's right here. When I come to, I better be able to get to it. We fraternized with people who had fox furs and jumped out of limos, and I'm sitting back and I'm thinking I'm invisible because God don't want me to live like this. But that's why I didn't get baptized. I remember telling my mother, I said, I can't get baptized. I haven't done anything yet. You know what I mean? I didn't want God to be angry with me. So being with this crowd of people, I'm starting to feel like God's getting angry with me, because I don't know what they're doing, but I know it can't be nice. They have too much money and we're doing too many things. It was a blind eye. Let me close my eyes and act like I'm not here, but I want to be around everything that I can use. We used to go in people's basements. I call it a basement. And you got these big, gigantic shark tanks with all kinds of fish that can eat people. And I'm sitting there looking at it, and my mind would say, they're going to kill me and put me in a fish tank. You know, what a way to go. And I couldn't stop, though. I couldn't stop the way I was living. I could not afford to quit. By this time, when cocaine had become plentiful in my life, my ego actually, it enhanced my ego. I had an awful arrogance going on, and no one can tell me what to do. I'm not taking any direction. I attempted relationships in my teenage life. They crossed me. Now I have a new attitude and a new principle. I'm gonna get mine before you get yours. I'm gonna do what I need to satisfy me. Well, my life was taking a tumble. I was in places I didn't want to be around, people I didn't want to be around. I'm in cities I don't even know where I am. I don't even know who I'm getting high with, but yet I'm over here getting high with you. I just want to go home. You know, it's this screaming need in me that's just yearning to return home. I just want to go home. But I was so intoxicated that my days had began to mix together. No longer am I 1 hour, 2 hours away. I tell you, I have a little girl now. I'm advancing into my early 20s. I can't even get home at all. This baby is sitting in a house. She got off a school bus, and I'm right next door, and I can't come out of someone's house. And she's just sitting in the dark by herself. It's getting bad. So I believed I quit cocaine. I said, I'm not getting high anymore. So by the time I was 23, God had enhanced me with a thought to go back and get my GED and go get me an associate's degree. And that's what I set out to do. I'm very grateful at this time because I started working and I'm going to school. So things are occupying my time, and I'm able to do things for this little girl now. But yet alcohol is still taking an exhilarating point in my life. It's how Bill put it in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. My life is getting crazy. I'm smoking powder cocaine in a joint or in a cigarette, but I'm not rocking anything up. I'm not using a pipe, and I thought I had quit. the dishonesty of this disease. It told me that I quit. Well, I teach people today that if you're ingesting any kind of chemicals and you're dizzy, a dizzy head is a dizzy head, then you may be suffering from the same affliction. It got into a point in my life where I'm working, but I'm seeing no advancements. I can't seem to save any money. I started 3 different bank accounts, and I'm shifting money from one bank account to another just so it can appear to me that I have something. But this is how my jobs went. When I went to work, on break, I'm outside, I'm smoking a joint in the car. On lunch, I'm going over to the bar, not to get my meal, to eat. I'm getting my meal wrapped up, and I'm having me a couple of drinks. I'm going back to work, and I'm eating at my desk. But they kept me. They kept me. So I'm delusional. I'm powerful, and I'm delusional. I'm falling, and nobody can hear me. I'm screaming, and I can't no one hear me. I'm hurting. I've heard people say that, their head would always tell them it's going to be better tomorrow. Mine never told me that toward the end. So it's going to be a messed up day, so don't even worry about it. It's like I knew it was going to be an awful day. But on this journey, when it came down to graduation, I had landed a very good job, and they were going to pay for me to go and get my bachelor's. They wanted me to work in the research department, and the reality of it is that I gained information just so I could be in certain crowds, not because I wanted to know anything. My disease had taken full effect. Now I'm smoking not in a whole pipe. Now I just had a mouthpiece. I'm offended because of that. Those gangsters that I had left alone, now I'm hanging in their cars, and I'm hanging around them, and my affiliation is just getting worse. There used to be a bar, I don't know if it still exists, but it used to be over by the post office, and it was called Truckers, and I would go in Truckers because it was jet black in there. I mean, literally, you couldn't see anybody. So I could sit there, and I could drink all day. It even looked like that at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 9 o'clock in the morning. It was dark in there. So that's how it had gotten for me. And here this little girl is getting older, and I'm falling apart. Right when, to me, our life should have elevated, I couldn't get off the floor. In 1991, like June 15th, we were getting high, and I had been getting high for 2 days, and we were going into day 3. And I know I screamed out because I was actually I was in a very hot tub of water, and I was just trying to wipe this feeling away. So I went into this hospital, and when they assessed me, they said, you're an alcoholic. But I'm running from cocaine. I'm not running from alcohol. This is my thinking. Really? Took this who's who and answered every question correctly. They said, see, So she says, I want to keep you in the hospital for a couple of days. And I said, oh no, I can't stay here, And she said, you need to detox. But I knew I was going to end up a toe tag. It just wasn't right to me. So when I went on and stayed, and they taught me, go to meetings, say your prayers, get you a sponsor. I don't need any of that. I'm fine now. I went to the hospital, and I had his book, and I'm good. Well, I got drunk again in August of 91. That took me into January. I went from drinking 1 day to drinking 2 days to drinking 5 days to drinking all day. So I remember a girlfriend of mine saying, see, you drinking again, you ain't gonna smoke that stuff. And then we talking about smoke cocaine or crack, whatever word y'all use. And I said, girl, I'm already smoking. And it wasn't that I started smoking, but I was drinking the same way that I thought cocaine was doing to me. Here I was drinking, and the same thing is happening. Days are adding on, hours are adding on. I quit, it's happening. So the early part of January in 92, I made a pact with myself. If you go back to the liquor store, you admit you have a problem. Girl, you drinking every day, you have a problem. But I'm not looking at that. I gave myself a point. So my actual clue to my sobriety date was Super Bowl of 1992. And I'm here to tell you guys, I blacked out walking out of the liquor store. I hadn't even touched any alcohol. I sat in that liquor store and I went from buying a pint for her to buying a fifth to walking out the door with a half gallon. That had a handle to it. I don't remember anything else after that. I woke up that Sunday morning. I was in my bedroom with a robe on, no underwear. Now my mother lived clear across town, but when I came out my bedroom, I looked down my hall and my mother is embracing her. Oh my God, here we go. What happened? I can't find it. I went and closed my bedroom door and I got back on my knees. And this time I said, consciously, what didn't I do? See, he showed me in 91 to keep me sober. When I ran in that hospital June 17th, I meant that. And I wanted a new way of life. That's what I wanted. But I wasn't willing to submit myself to what people were directing me to do. Well, that Sunday I was willing. I said, what didn't I do? Because when I got up off my knees, something said to me, I will never ever have to get high again. I went from depressed and down and hopeless to instantly revitalized, But did anybody believe me? No, I didn't even believe me. I was like, that's impossible. Now, I'm not willing to go back to meetings. I'm not willing to get a sponsor or any of that because that's ridiculous. I don't need to listen to anybody else. I just needed the right information. Now I know what to do. Every day I'm asking something to keep me sober. I kept that simplicity in there. If they said, if you keep you sober, then say thank you that night to establish that relationship. But I'm here to tell you, 6 months sober, I was like, I haven't used anything? I was shocked. 9 months sober, I haven't used anything? I was shocked. January 26, 1992 is my sobriety date. From that date into this one, I've been shocked. It's not, every day I get up, I am shocked. By that summer, I did acquire a sponsor. By that summer, I had started going back to meetings, but I was going back to meetings because my man was at meetings. So the ladies needed to know who his woman was. We need to get with this. So everything I like to call a character defect has been used to assist me in this travel. So I now have adapted the attitude that my character is not defected at all, unless I'm trying to direct it. Now, Kim becomes the director, here comes defect, I'm meeting the character that he made me to be. The journey has been long, it's been a mess. I believe that I acquired my first relationship with a man 30 years old. Because God brought me into recovery when I was 30 years old. And I was accustomed to be around men who had money. This young man had absolutely none. But he was a chef, and I love to eat. As I went through this relationship, without a 12-step program, I may not have made it. It helped me to look at what I'm really thinking and what's really going on so that I can share with somebody. But I stayed here long enough. And that's what I tell people. Stay here long enough. What you think you know, you'll discover you don't even know. They said to me, and this is what shut me up, they said, Kim just don't know, she don't know. But I really didn't. Dishonesty is so strong that I believe it to be the truth. Whatever it is I tell myself that needs to be executed the way I need for it to be executed, I had to be dishonest with myself. Because in being dishonest, I'm able to be inconsiderate, which keeps me from opening my mind to anything else, and it blinds me to just whatever I believe to be true. So that dishonesty could kill me. I'm learning how to receive people for who they are. I can always trust a person to be who they are. Now, will I take that few minutes out to meet them? Here's where my growth came in. You have to now start meeting people. I met my daughter, I met my mother, I met people that before that was my mother, that was my daughter, so their things were my things. And if I said you were my man, your car was mine, your bank account was mine, because I said my was in it. But today, people have names. They have names, they have personalities, they have their own hang-ups. And I'm free to do that. I'm free to go through that. It's amazing to have met all the people that I've met over the years. I used to speak at 3 detoxes, and I used to do 4 big books a week. That was my week. He had me to a point where I was at least leading somewhere once or twice a week, to me orchestrating a big book discussion in my home. Now, there are times throughout my sobriety where my sponsors would say to me, you shouldn't do that. And that was one of my sponsors' peeves. She did not want me to do this meeting out of my house. She said, there's too many meetings in the surrounding areas for you to have a meeting in your house. But it was the best meeting ever. It didn't just save my life. I watched it save hundreds of people's lives. So that's where Keep It Real started. We went from my home to me accommodating like 8 to 10 women to 40 women actually being in my house, to me then starting a males group in my house where I was the only female at an all-male meeting, because the guy was like, well, wait a minute. And I don't suggest that all women sponsor males, but I have over the years. We went from there down to this place called Stella Mars, and weekly we have had people, hundreds of people. So every time somebody's new and they come in and they get time, I got time too. Because they showed up every day. They showed up every Tuesday, and I got a chance to watch you grow. I've cried from that podium. I've laughed from that podium, but I gave you all account. My journey's not over yet. 2015, I was diagnosed with 2 brain aneurysms, and for a minute we thought we was going to lose me. God said, I'm still here. So God is good. This program, it works for me. This disease is real. I know I possess it. I hope I said something that will make a person at least question themselves as to whether they possess it or not. Get on your knees and talk. The God that I run with today, he's not religiously affiliated. He's open to all those who want him. And I've been talking to him since I was a kid. He said, I made you. That's all I would hear. If what someone else thought was important, you wouldn't be here. I made you. And that's the Father I call, the one that made me. I wish everyone well that has to be on the alcoholic journey, because it's going to be a long one, but you can endure. And with that, I love you.